सरांना होस्ट करा मॅडम. ठीक आहे मॅडम, मी झालंय, माझं नेट आलाय पुन्हा, मी करून देतो सरांना. सर आय थिंक झालाय.
ओके
ओके.
हा, आवाज येतोय माझा?
येतोय सर आवाज.
ओके ठीक. Okay, good afternoon friends. I congratulate Honorable Principal Dr. D.S. Thackeray sir and the organizing committee for this lecture series, which is organized on the wave of the celebration of National Science Day. So in this lecture series, I am going to give the first lecture. So the topic of my lecture is Introduction to Quantum Physics. So I know this topic is big. It is not possible to cover the quantum physics in 1 hour, but I will try to uncover the topic, because my one of teacher has rightly said that instead of covering the syllabus, it is better to uncover the syllabus. कारण syllabus कुठल्याही विषयाचा तर तो विषय आणि त्या विषयाचा जो सिलेबस आहे किंवा जो करिक्युलम आहे तो कव्हर शक्य नसतं. तर कव्हर अनकव्हर केलं पाहिजे. ओके, आणि तेच मी या आजच्या लेक्चर मध्ये या पुढच्या 1 तासात करण्याचा प्रयत्न करतो. फॉर क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स. या क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्सची प्रॉब्लेम्स रिमेन क्लास.
सर आवाज नाही येतोय.
आज येत नाही आहे. आता येतोय? आता येतोय का?
नाही सर, आवाज असा मधात हे
इथून तर बरोबर
नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लेम होत आहे सर. मे बी
नेटवर्कचा इश्यू नाही आहे आणि माईकची क्वालिटी हा रेग्युलर आमचा
नाही सर.
हॅलो.
हा सर.
हा, 1 मिनिट मी चेक करून बघतो.
ठीक आहे सर, नो प्रॉब्लेम.
हॅलो. माझ्याकडून ओके आहे, माझ्याकडून काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही. नेटवर्क पण व्यवस्थित आहे आणि टाइम तो माईक पर.
ओके सर, मग ठीक आहे, कंटिन्यू करा तुम्ही.
ओके फाइन. तर I was talking about for the need of quantum mechanics. As we know, the mechanics deals with the motions of the body. Mechanics मध्ये आपण bodies ज्या आहेत, particles, यांचं मोशन स्टडी करतो. तर क्लासिकल मेकॅनिक्स जे न्यूटननी 17व्या शतकामध्ये सांगितलं, which was based on his 3 laws of motion, the law of inertia, law of momentum आणि law of action and reaction. हे 3 महत्वाचे लॉज, आणि त्या लॉज वरती बेस्ड एक मेकॅनिक्स, एक थिअरी जी बॉडीजचं मोशन एक्सप्लेन करण्यासाठी वापरल्या जात होती. त्यानंतर काही बॉडीज ज्यांचं मोशन किंवा त्याच्या मोशनचा जो स्पीड आहे तो खूप जास्त आहे, जवळपास लाईटच्या स्पीड एवढा आहे. त्या मोशनला आपण रिलेटिव्हिस्टिक मोशन असं म्हणतो. तर हे जे रिलेटिव्हिस्टिक मोशन्स आहेत बॉडीचं, तर ते एक्सप्लेन करण्यासाठी ही क्लासिकल मेकॅनिक्सचे किंवा क्लासिकल फिजिक्सचे लॉज होते, तर ते काही पुरेसे नव्हते. त्यानंतर हे रिलेटिव्हिस्टिक मेकॅनिक्स आलं, विच कुड एक्सप्लेन द मोशन ऑफ द bodies which moves with the speed of light or with the speed approaching to the speed of light. But even then there are some things or some motions which could not be explained with the classical mechanics as well as relativistic mechanics. So there was need for some other mechanics, some other theory which could explain the motions or the experimental facts regarding the motions of the particles. These problems included, which could not be explained by the classical theory, is black body radiation or the spectrum obtained from the black body, then photoelectric effect, that is emission of electrons by when it is illuminated, emission of electrons by metal when it is illuminated by the, or Compton effect, where we can see the shift of wavelength of X-rays when it is scattered from some light elements. So one by one we will discuss these three problems and how we could explain these problems using this revolutionary mechanics or revolutionary theory in physics known as was the theory proposed by Max Planck at the beginning of the 20th century. Growth of this quantum mechanics was happened in 1900 to 1930. This theory was successful in explaining many phenomena, as I have mentioned, like the black body radiation spectrum, photoelectric effect, Compton effect. There were some other phenomena also which could be explained using this quantum mechanics. And so we will start with the black body radiation. So what is black body radiation?
What is black body radiation?
When a body is heated, then it will start emitting the radiations. Those radiations are known as black body radiation.
Black body radiation.
The characteristic depends on the temperature of the body and its surface properties. The thermal radiation consists of continuous distribution of wavelengths from all portions of the electromagnetic spectrum. Even at room temperature, some of the bodies radiate the radiations. They are mainly in infrared region. As the surface temperature increases, the wavelength of the emitted radiation is changes. It will glow red, eventually white. You have seen the tungsten filament lamp. If you have done the experiment of determination of Stephan constant, or you might have seen the tungsten filament lamp, when the voltage is low at our home, then you can see that the filament just appears a dull red. Why? Because the less current is flowing through that filament, and therefore less heat is developed to that filament, so that its temperature is low, and due to its low temperature, the emission spectrum from the filament is emitting the radiation which is centered about the red color. But when the voltage is full, the current will pass through that filament is more, and then in that case the temperature of that filament will be more, and so that all the colors in the visible region will emit, and so the light emitted from that filament appears a white. So if you see on the screen, here is the electromagnetic spectrum. As I have told, when the body is heated, any body, not just a filament, if any body is heated at a higher temperatures, it will emit the radiations, and the wavelength of emitted radiation is continuous. Okay, that means it is not emit the radiation of any particular wavelength. It will emit the radiation with a continuous wavelength, right from minimum wavelength to maximum wavelength. So on the screen you can see the electromagnetic spectrum. So it is a range of the wavelengths that electromagnetic radiations can have. It is classified into different regions like gamma rays, X-rays, then ultraviolet rays, visible, infrared, microwave, radio frequency, and so on. Then this portion which is appear white and it is very small region, our eye is sensitive. That means this radiation from about suppose 4000 nanometer, 4000 angstrom to 7000 angstrom unit, our eye is sensitive. So these electromagnetic radiation we can see, therefore they are called visible radiations. So it is start with violet color and ends with the red color. Also, I would like to tell you about the nature of the electromagnetic radiations. You can see the figure at the bottom of this slide. It is the nature of electromagnetic radiation. It is a oscillating electric and magnetic field in mutually perpendicular planes. If you see by the blue wave, it shows the oscillation of electric wave, and the orange wave shows the oscillation of magnetic field, and both have their plane of vibration perpendicular to each other. And also both these waves are transverse waves. That means the direction of vibrations and direction of propagation are perpendicular to each other. So this is the electromagnetic wave. All these electromagnetic waves, right from gamma rays to radio waves or micro audio frequency waves or any other high wavelength or low frequency waves, the speed of the radiation is same in vacuum. It is equal to c. And by the theory of wave motion, we know that the speed of any wave is equal to the wavelength into frequency. So what was the basic problem behind the explanation of black body radiation? The specific nature or specific characteristic wavelengths emitted by the black body radiation could not be explained using classical theory. So that different theories come up, try to explain the radiation spectrum, but they couldn't do. Although this black body is not an actual concept, it's an ideal concept. Okay, because ideally or perfectly black body is that body which can absorb the 100% radiation incident on it. Okay, but what will happen? You do not get such a 100% absorbance by any surface. So for the good approximation or almost 100% absorption, we construct the body as shown in this figure. So there is a hole to this hollow sphere, and the inner surface of this hollow sphere is coated with the absorbing substance. Okay, so effectively the area of absorbance of this black body is just equal to the cross-sectional area of the hole. Okay, so almost all radiation get absorbed into the cavity, and therefore it can be assumed to be a black body. So this is the black body radiation spectrum. So you can see, as the temperature of the black body increases, the spectrum is goes higher and higher. So there are certain observations that we can make from this black body radiation spectrum. The very first observation is that the total power radiated by the black body increases with its temperature. As it can be seen from the figure also, there are different radiation curves. At the lowest is at 3500 Kelvin, the next is at 4000 Kelvin, then 4500 Kelvin, then at 5000 Kelvin, and the maximum temperature is 5500 Kelvin. So at different temperatures, you will get the different black body radiation spectrum. But overall the nature is same. त्याचा जो त्या स्पेक्ट्रमचं जे नेचर आहे तर ते तुम्हाला सेम दिसेल. तर इट इज कॉल्ड बेल शेप नेचर. मंदिरातली जशी घंटा असते तर त्या प्रकारचं त्याचं नेचर आहे. ओके, आणि ते नेचर आपल्याला सर्व टेम्परेचरला सारखं दिसतं. पण जसं जसं टेम्परेचर वाढत जातं तर टोटल पॉवर रेडिएटेड बाय द ब्लॅक बॉडी इज ऑल्सो इन्क्रीजेस. ही जी टोटल पॉवर रेडिएट केलेली आहे ब्लॅक बॉडीनं, तर दॅट कॅन बी डिटरमाइंड फ्रॉम द एरिया अंडर द कर्व. एका पर्टिक्युलर टेम्परेचरला जो कर्व आपल्याला मिळतो त्याच्या अंडर येणारा जो टोटल एरिया आहे तर दॅट विल बी रिलेटेड टू द टोटल पॉवर रेडिएटेड बाय द ब्लॅक बॉडी. And it is seen that this power is directly proportional to the fourth power of the absolute temperature of the black body. The peak of the wavelength distribution shifts to shorter wavelength as the temperature increases. जसं जसं टेम्परेचर वाढतंय 3500 केल्विन पासून जसं आपण 5500 म्हणजे 5500 केल्विनला जातोय, तर या बेल शेप स्पेक्ट्रमचा जो पीक आहे तर तो शॉर्टर वेव्हलेंथ कडे सरकलेला आपल्याला दिसतोय. फ्रॉम धिस ऑब्झर्वेशन वी कॅन conclude this Wien's displacement law. If we take a product of the wavelength at which there is a peak in the spectrum and the temperature at which we are looking for the spectrum is equal to constant, and it is equal to approximately 3 into 10 to the power minus 3 meter Kelvin. The peak wavelength decreases with increasing temperature. Okay, so the wavelength at which we are getting the peak, it is decreasing with increasing temperature. So this can be understand by using this simulation. I will show this simulation for you. Okay, so here is a simulation. So that will in the emission or radiation, body radiation spectrum. So left there is a thermometer where there is a temperature scale. I am now at the lowest point on this temperature scale. So this temperature, this lowest temperature corresponds to the surface temperature of the earth. Okay, and suppose if that body have this temperature about 200 Kelvin, it's an average temperature of the atmosphere of the earth. So it is 200 Kelvin. At this 200 Kelvin, you will not see the emission of the spectrum. Okay, at this scale only. If I magnify, even though you cannot see the spectrum. Now if I increase the temperature, if I increase this temperature, this peak is growing. So you can see this is 700 Kelvin. And at 700 Kelvin, you will get this spectrum. If I further increase the spectrum grows up. So in the simulation, you can see there are the provisions to see the graph values, labels, intensity of the emitted radiation. So here, this is the wavelength axis, and here on the left of the visible spectrum, there is ultraviolet radiation. On the right of the visible spectrum, there will be infrared radiation. So at this temperature, which is about suppose 900 Kelvin, the peak is appeared in the infrared region. That means the radiation is not visible. Okay, so even though the radiation is emitting from the black body, it is not seen because it is not in the visible region. All the radiation emitted are in infrared region. Now, if I further increase, this peak is now spread into visible region. Okay, so here at the top, if you see the picture of star, this star is appeared red. That means if the filament will appear dull red, quite brownish as seen in the simulation. If it is further increased, this curve, this radiation spectrum or the black body spectrum curve more expands into visible region. Okay, so now this enters into the visible region in more deeper. So it is covered the orange color of the spectrum. So now the light appears orange. If I further increase the temperature, so it becomes more orange. Now this peak is shifting more towards the visible region so that the color is changing from red to orange. Okay, so now it becomes orange. So now it becomes yellow because the curve is, and as it enters, as the peak enters into the visible region, that means almost all the wavelengths of the visible radiation come into this spectrum. The radiation or the body appears bright, or so now as I'm increasing the temperature, it appears brighter and brighter. So here you can see the temperature of the body is exactly equal to 6000 Kelvin, which is the temperature of the surface of the sun. So therefore the spectrum from the sun is like this. Okay, so if we plot the spectrum from the sun, so its peak will be appeared at 483 nanometer or 4830 angstrom unit, and the intensity of the radiation
हॅलो सर, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट. सर, तुमचा आवाज नाही येत आहे. हॅलो कॉल करून
हॅलो हॅलो
तुमचा आवाज नाही येत होता सर.
आवाज हे इथलं हे बंद झालं होतं, नेटवर्क गेलं होतं, बहुतेक लाईन गेली होती. तर ते चालू
आला?
होतं.
हॅलो
हॅलो, आता येतोय का आवाज?
अच्छा, लाईन गेली होती सर. हा,
हॅलो?
आता येतोय सर आवाज. आता येतोय.
हा हा, त्याची लाईन गेली असेल, ती बहुतेक नेटवर्क हे झालं होतं. तर या ॲनिमेशन वरून ऍक्च्युअल ब्लॅक बॉडी रेडिएशन स्पेक्ट्रम आपल्याला पाहता येईल आणि आपल्याला स्टडी करता येईल. तर या प्रकारे वेगवेगळ्या टेम्परेचरला आपल्याला हा रेडिएशन स्पेक्ट्रम कसा चेंज होतोय ते कळेल. आणि याचा जो पीक आहे, तर तो पीक कसा शिफ्ट होतोय शॉर्टर साईडला. जसं आपण इथे पाहिलं, सपोज आता या ठिकाणी 4200 केल्विन हे जर ब्लॅक बॉडीचं टेम्परेचर असेल, तर 690 नॅनोमीटरला हा पीक येईल आणि ती पीक इंटेन्सिटी जवळपास 16.82 एवढी असेल, जी आपण वॅट पर मीटर स्क्वेअर मध्ये 1.76 एवढी आपल्याला ती टोटल पॉवर, रेडिएटेड पॉवर राहील. जर टेम्परेचर वाढवलं तर हा जो पीक आहे तर तो शॉर्टर साईडकडे सरकतोय असं आपल्याला लक्षात येईल. आणि ओव्हरऑल जी इंटेन्सिटी आहे किंवा ओव्हरऑल जो एरिया अंडर दी कर्व आहे तो सुद्धा वाढलेला आपल्याला दिसेल. तर या ठिकाणी इंटेन्सिटी च्या खाली हा जो नंबर दिलेला आहे 2.22 into 10 to the power 7 watt per meter square, तर it is total power radiated by the black body at this temperature. Okay, and if we increase this total power radiated will increase, this peak of the spectrum is shifting toward the shorter wavelengths, and from this you can verify the Stephen's law, that is the total power radiated is proportional to the fourth power of absolute temperature. Also at different temperatures you are getting the different positions of the peak. Okay, and if you take the product of the position of the wavelength at which this curve has a maxima and the corresponding temperature of the black body, so it will be a constant, and that is a Wien's displacement law. So with this simulation you can verify the black body laws regarding to black body radiation spectrum, like the Stephen constant or Wien's displacement law. So now I will move on to the presentation. So the different scientists were tried to explain this black body radiation spectrum. So how this nature of the curve is like a bell shape. So different scientists tried to obtain the formula which will fit to the experimental curve. The first attempt was made by William Wien. He used the concept of thermodynamics and obtained the expression for the intensity for the radiation emitted from the black body within the wavelength range lambda to lambda plus d lambda. So the expression obtained by him is I d lambda. So this intensity is a function of lambda and the temperature. It is equal to the constant A divided by lambda raised to 5 into e to the power minus v by lambda t into d lambda. So this was the formula derived by the William Wien by using the concept of thermodynamics, and this formula is totally empirical. So he just made some numerical calculations to obtain the formula which should fit to the experimental curve. So this is seen that at a shorter wavelength, the formula match with the experimental results, but at a longer wavelength, it deviates from the experimental curve. So from the figure, it is seen that this rate curve resembles to the Wien's radiation formula. Hello? Hello?
हॅलो सर.
हाँ, तर ह्या स्क्रीनवरती रेषा येत आहेत.
तर त्या सर तिथे ऑप्शन असेल ना सर इरेसरचं.
हॅलो, हां, स्क्रीनवरती ह्या ज्या हे येत आहेत, कोणीतरी टेम्पर्ड करता या स्क्रीनला, तर त्याच्यासाठी ते ऑप्शन असेल ना, त्याला तुम्हाला स्क्रीन डिसेबल करता येईल अनोटेशनसाठी.
एक मिनिट सर, चरपे सरांना बोलून बघते.
ओके ओके, ठीक आहे, मी केलं. हाँ, the next is Rayleigh-Jeans law. Rayleigh and Jeans was another scientists who have attempted to explain the black body radiation spectrum on the basis of the law of equipartition of energy that we have learned in the kinetic theory of gases or in thermodynamics. He obtained the formula for the intensity distribution of the black body radiation spectrum. So the formula is 8 pi kBt upon lambda raised to 4. Okay, so according to this formula, the intensity of the radiation at wavelength lambda is inversely proportional to the fourth power of lambda, and it is directly proportional to the absolute temperature of the black body. So from the formula, it is seen that for the longer wavelength, this formula or the result from this formula agrees fairly with the experimental results. So in this figure, you can see that this is actual, the blue curve is the actual experimental result, and the brown curve is correspond to the Rayleigh-Jeans formula. So it is seen that for the longer wavelengths, the both curves are overlap on each other, but as the wavelength goes on decreasing, this intensity goes on increasing. That means at very short wavelength, this intensity becomes infinite. So this mismatch of the actual spectrum and the plotted spectrum from the Rayleigh-Jeans formula is known as ultraviolet catastrophe. And this means that as wavelength is approaching to zero, the intensity of the radiation or the power radiated by the black body becomes infinite. So this is known as ultraviolet catastrophe. Then another attempt was made by the Max Planck. In fact, this was the successful attempt by the Max Planck. He was a German physicist born in 1858. He first introduced the concept of quantum action. He received the Nobel Prize in 1918 for this concept. So, in order to explain the black body radiation spectrum, Planck put his theory in 1900, and from the theory he obtained the equation to explain the black body radiation spectrum. This equation is in complete agreement with the experimental observation. In his theory, he assumed that the atoms on the surface of black body behaves as a harmonic oscillators, and the radiation come from these atomic oscillations. The oscillator oscillates with all possible frequencies, and the frequency of radiation emitted by any oscillator is equal to the frequency of its oscillation. So, in order to explain the black body radiation spectrum, the Planck proposed this theory in 1900. या theory मध्ये त्याने काय अज्यूम केलं, जी ब्लॅक बॉडी आपण कन्सिडर करतोय तर त्या ब्लॅक बॉडीच्या सरफेस वरती जे ॲटम्स आहेत तर दे बिहेव्स एज ए हार्मोनिक ऑसिलेटर्स, and the radiation or black body radiation coming from the body is from these harmonic oscillators. The oscillators with all oscillator oscillates with all possible frequencies. सर्व frequency ने number of atoms black body च्या surface वरती जे number of atoms आहेत they are vibrating with all possible frequencies. They are oscillating with all possible frequencies, right from minimum to maximum. If we consider any one particular oscillator, then if it is oscillating with some frequency, suppose f, then the radiations emitted by that oscillator is also of frequency f. So the Planck made two assumptions about the nature of these oscillators. या ऑसिलेटरच्या नेचर बद्दल प्लँकने दोन assumptions केले. तर so at the bottom you can see, so if you assume any atom on the surface of the black body, it is oscillate harmonically like the animation shows at the bottom. The energy of an oscillator oscillating with frequency f can have only certain discrete values of energies. The oscillator which is oscillating, okay, it can have the values of energy given by this formula. En is equal to n h and into f, where f is the frequency of oscillation of that oscillator, n is a positive integer known as quantum number, and h is a constant. It's a universal constant known as Planck constant. Each discrete energy value corresponds to a different quantum state. Each quantum state is represented by
हॅलो सर. सर तुमचं नेट कनेक्शन गेलंय का? हॅलो.
सर
हा बहुतेक सरांचं नेट कनेक्शन गेलं वाटते पुन्हा. डिअर स्टुडंट्स प्लीज वेट 2 minutes.
हॅलो.
हा सर तुमचं नेट
हा
गेलं
येतोय ना. हा आवाज
हो.
ब्रेक होतोय थोडा.
हो सर चालू करा.
हा ठीक आहे. तर so this was the assumption by the Planck. The oscillator is oscillating with frequency f, then it can have the values of energy given by the formula E is equal to n into h into f. So these discrete energy value correspond to different quantum state, and each quantum state correspond to some number known as quantum number. The oscillator emits or absorbs the energy when making the transition from one quantum state to another. The entire energy difference between the initial and final state in the transition is emitted or absorbed as a single quantum radiation. An oscillator emits or absorbs energy only when it changes its quantum state. So you can see on this slide, on the left, there is the quantum states of the harmonic oscillator or atomic harmonic oscillator. According to Planck, this oscillator, if oscillating with frequency f, then it can have the allowed values of energy given by E is equal to n into hf. Okay, so n is 0 or integer. If it is 0, then the energy of the oscillator will be 0. If it is 1, then the energy of the oscillator will be hf. If it is 2, then energy of the oscillator will be 2hf, and so on. This was the first assumption by the Planck. And this oscillator emits energy or absorbs energy when it makes the transition between these levels. If you see, if initially if this oscillator has this energy hf, and suppose if it is absorbing energy from absorbing external energy, then it will move on to the level 2hf. That means it is absorbing the energy hf to make this transition. Similarly, if it is initially at 2hf energy, and if it is emitting the energy, then it will come at to the level 1, that is of the energy hf. So it means it is emitting the energy equal to hf. So according to Planck, this transitions or emission or absorption process by the atomic oscillator is discrete. It is not in a continuous manner. The oscillator does not absorb any amount of energy. It will not absorb any amount of energy, but it will absorb certain specific amount of energy that is known as quantum of energy. So this oscillator emits or absorbs the energy in terms of quantums. So this is how he could obtain the formula, Planck's radiation formula, in order to explain this radiation spectrum. So the logic behind it was, at shorter wavelengths there is a large separation between energy levels, as it is seen. Suppose we are dealing with the shorter wavelength from the black body radiation spectrum. That means the energy difference between the levels of the harmonic oscillator is much large. Okay, so that it leads to the less probability of excitation and then to downward transition. जर हा एनर्जी डिफरन्स खूप जास्त असेल तर याचा अर्थ काय होईल की हे जे ट्रान्झिशन आहे तर हे ट्रान्झिशन खूप रेअर राहील, कारण एनर्जी डिफरन्स जास्त आहे, म्हणजे जास्त एनर्जी या ट्रान्झिशनसाठी लागेल आणि त्यामुळे या ट्रान्झिशनची प्रोबॅबिलिटी कमी राहील. आणि अपवर्ड ट्रान्झिशनची प्रोबॅबिलिटी कमी असेल तर ऑब्व्हियसली लो डाऊनवर्ड ट्रान्झिशन जी आहे त्याची सुद्धा प्रोबॅबिलिटी कमी राहील. ओके, आणि this means that at the longer wavelengths or for higher energy difference between the levels of the harmonic oscillator, the transition probability is less, so that the intensity at the higher wavelengths is less. Okay, now if we talk about the longer wavelengths, so the oscillators will have small energy difference between the energy levels. So the small separation between energy levels leading to high probability of excited state. जर एनर्जी डिफरन्स कमी असेल तर ट्रान्झिशन एक्साइटेड स्टेट मध्ये जाण्यासाठी जे ट्रान्झिशन्स लागतील त्याची प्रोबॅबिलिटी जास्त राहील आणि त्यामुळे डाऊनवर्ड ट्रान्झिशन सुद्धा खूप जास्त होतील. सो दॅट यू कॅन सी दॅट the spectrum is extended towards the longer wavelength side. Okay, that means the probability of the transition for the longer wavelength is more. Okay, and somewhere between very short and very long wavelength, the product of increasing probability of transition and decreasing energy per transition results in maximum intensity. आणि याच्यामध्ये कुठेतरी एक आपल्याला मॅक्सिमम इंटेन्सिटीचा वेवलेंथ मिळेल किंवा मॅक्सिमम इंटेन्सिटी साठीचा पीक मिळेल. So Planck generated a theoretical expression for the wavelength distribution. हा जो रेडिएशन स्पेक्ट्रम आहे बेल शेप रेडिएशन स्पेक्ट्रम, तर हा एक्सप्लेन करण्यासाठी आणि जे अझम्पशन्स आहेत प्लँकनी सजेस्ट केलेले ते वापरून त्यांनी त्या इंटेन्सिटी डिस्ट्रीब्युशन साठी हा फॉर्म्युला डिराईव्ह केला. याला आपण प्लँक्स रेडिएशन फॉर्म्युला असं म्हणतो. या फॉर्म्युलामध्ये H हा प्लँक कॉन्स्टंट, C is a speed of light in free space, हा जो कॉन्स्टंट K सफिक्स B दिसतोय तर इट्स अ बोल्टमन कॉन्स्टंट. तर अशा प्रकारे लॅम्बडा या वेवलेंथ साठी जी इंटेन्सिटी राहील तर इट इज गिवन बाय दिस फॉर्म्युला. And if we plot for the different wavelengths, then you will get the graph which is exactly match with the experimental result. या फॉर्म्युलावरून जर आपण वेगवेगळ्या वेवलेंथ साठी इंटेन्सिटी आपण प्लॉट केल्या, व्हॅल्यूज काढून जर आपण प्लॉट केला तर तो जो आपल्याला ग्राफ मिळेल तर तो एक्झॅक्टली या एक्सपेरिमेंटल जो ग्राफ्स आहेत, जो ऍक्च्युअल ग्राफ आपल्याला मिळतो एखाद्या ब्लॅक बॉडी रेडिएशन स्पेक्ट्रमचा, तर त्याच्याशी एक्झॅक्टली मॅच होईल. आणि आपण हे सुद्धा व्हेरीफाय करू शकतो की ऍट लॉंग वेवलेंथ प्लँक इक्वेशन रिड्युसेस टू रॅले जीन्स एक्सप्रेशन. If we consider in this expression lambda is large, then this equation leads to the Rayleigh Jeans formula. You can understand if in this expression you consider lambda is large, so for the large value of lambda, this power of the exponential term is very small, and if it is small, then this exponential term can be expressed as 1 plus the power of the exponential term, that is 1 plus hc upon lambda kbt, and this minus 1 plus 1 and minus 1 will get cancelled, and then there remain only in the denominator hc by lambda kt. So this hc from the numerator and the hc from the denominator will cancel to each other. Okay, and then this kbt from the denominator of the denominator goes to numerator, so in the numerator there will be 8 pi kbt. This lambda from the denominator of the denominator cancel one of the lambda from this lambda raised to 5, so there remain lambda raised to 4. So in this way 8 pi kbt lambda raised to 4 will remain if we consider the lambda as a large. Okay, so that means it is ultimately reduces to Rayleigh Jeans expression. Now if we consider lambda very short, if we consider small values of lambda, so in that case this exponential term becomes very large as compared to -1, and so that it can be neglected, and if it is neglected, so there will be only the exponential term at the denominator, so it can be right into the numerator keeping minus at the power, so that the expression becomes 8 pi hc upon lambda raised to 5 e to the power minus hc by lambda kt, which is nothing but the Wien's radiation formula. So in this way, for the longer wavelengths, this formula reduces to Rayleigh-Jeans formula, and for shorter wavelength, it reduces to Wien's radiation formula. So ultimately, this formula can be verified for the perfect agreement with the experimental results. So then Einstein and Planck's result. After the successful explanation of black body radiation spectrum from the Planck's theory, the Einstein motivated to extend the idea from the Planck. As Planck assumed the electromagnetic radiations are emitted from black body due to transition between quantized energy levels of the atomic oscillators. As we have seen, आपण बघितलं की जे ट्रान्झिशन्स त्या atomic oscillators चे होत आहेत आणि त्या ट्रान्झिशन्स मुळे जी एनर्जी एमिट होते तर इट इज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स, ते म्हणजेच इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स आहेत. Okay, and that transitions are quantized. Okay, they are in terms of quantas. Okay, suppose if the radiations of frequency f is emitted from the oscillator, that means it is emitting the quantas of energy hf. So this quanta is then known as a photon. The idea was coined by the Einstein. So this idea led to the concept of photon. So here in the last point, it was mentioned that if energy of the photon is h into f, then by Einstein, the energy is equal to mc square. And if we compare these two energy expressions, then we can write the quantity m into c, mass into velocity. It is nothing but a momentum, or this quantity have the dimensions of momentum, therefore we can say it as a momentum, and it is equal to hf by c. So that means this photon is now behaving as a particle, since momentum is a characteristic of a particle. हा जो आपला फोटॉन हा पार्टिकल आपल्याला आपण डिस्कवर्ड केला या प्लँकच्या थेअरीमध्ये, जो आइन्स्टाईननी प्लँकची आयडिया एक्सटेंड केल्यानंतर त्याला कळला की हे जे ट्रान्झिशन्स ॲटॉमिक ऑसिलेटर्स मध्ये होत आहेत, तर या ट्रान्झिशन मुळेच आपल्याला इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स मिळतात किंवा ब्लॅक बॉडी रेडिएशन्स मिळतात. म्हणजे हे जे ब्लॅक बॉडी रेडिएशन्स आहेत तर they consist of the quantum of energies, because as we have seen that the transitions are between the discrete energy levels of the oscillators. Okay, so for each transition there will be emission of one quantum of energy. Okay, and if oscillator is emitting the radiation which have the frequency of oscillation f, then it will emit the photons of energy hf. The same idea was extended by the Einstein and compared that energy of the photon with the mc square mass energy relation, which was proposed by Einstein himself, so that if we adjust the terms, then you will get the quantity mc, which is the product of mass and velocity. त्यालाच आपण मोमेंटम असं म्हणतो, आणि मोमेंटम हे पार्टिकलचं कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक असल्यामुळे हा जो क्वांटम ऑफ एनर्जी आहे ज्याला आपण आता फोटॉन म्हणतोय, तर हा पार्टिकल सारखं बिहेव करतोय असं यातून आपल्याला समजतं. आणि हा जो पार्टिकल आहे तर इट इज मूव्हिंग विथ द वेलॉसिटी c. Okay, if we are talking about the motion of that particle in free space, then it will move with the velocity c. Okay, and if m is its mass, then its momentum will be mc, and it is equal to hf by c. Okay, since this photon do not have the existence at a rest, therefore this rest mass of the photon is 0. Okay, though we are getting here the expression for the momentum, आपल्याला momentum चं expression मिळालं mc is equal to hf by c, पण जरी या मोमेंटमच्या एक्सप्रेशन मध्ये मास असलं तर this is the moving mass of photon, because photon doesn't have any meaning, it doesn't have any existence when it is at rest. त्याला एक्झिस्टन्स केव्हा राहील, फक्त तो मोशन मध्ये असेल तेव्हाच. So this extended idea by the Einstein of the Planck's theory was used to explain the photoelectric effect. Okay, I will not go much detail into this photoelectric effect because all of you know very well about this effect. The photoelectric effect occurs when light incident on certain metallic surface, electrons to be emitted from those surfaces, and these emitted electrons are called photoelectrons. They are not different than electrons. Okay, these photoelectrons are the electron only, but they are called photoelectrons since they are emitted in photoelectric effect, or they are emitted by the phenomena of photoelectric effect. So if we want to study this photoelectric effect more precisely, then we can use the apparatus like this. This is not actual apparatus, this is hypothetical apparatus that we can use to understand the phenomena of photoelectric effect. So in this figure you can see the plate E is a photosensitive metal plate. When the radiation or the light fall onto this plate through this hole in the plate C, which acts as a collector for the photoelectrons. So when the light incident on this photosensitive metal plate E, then electrons or photoelectrons emitted from the plate get accelerated towards this collector since it is made positive with respect to this emitter. Okay, when these photoelectrons reach to the cathode, it's a collector, not cathode here. So it's a collector. So when these electrons reach to the collector, this ammeter will show the current. Since the circuit is now complete, okay, and there will be the flow of the electric current. So it is seen that when the plate E is illuminated by light having an appropriate wavelength, a current is detected by the ammeter, as I have said. The current arises from the photoelectrons which are emitted from the emitter when it is collected by the positive electrode C. So if we plot or if we apply the potential difference here, delta V is a potential difference between anode and cathode. Okay, so this potential difference can be measured with this voltmeter. Okay, so now in this situation, as it is appeared in the figure, the potential difference is such that collector is at positive potential and emitter is at negative potential. So emitter in this case is a negative electrode which is emitting electrons. So this is known as forward bias connections. So when there is a forward bias connection between emitter and collector, then in that case with increase in potential difference, the current initially rises and then attains the saturation value. The maximum current increases as the intensity of the incident light increases. You can see this curve or this graph is for low intensity. In the forward bias, that means applied voltage is positive, and if you maintain suppose intensity I0, so at this intensity initially the current rises and then attains constant value. Okay, and now if we increase the intensity of the incident radiation, let's say it is doubled, now suppose it is become 2I0, then the saturation value of current also becomes, the nature of the rise is same, but the saturation value of the
photocurrent becomes doubled since intensity becomes double. So we can mention here that the photoelectric current is proportional to the intensity of the incident radiation on the photosensitive plate. The maximum current increases as the intensity of the incident light increases. When the potential difference is negative, the current drops. Now suppose the voltage polarity of the battery is reverse. Now suppose if this negative terminal is connected to the collector and positive to the emitter, so what will happen? This potential difference become negative, okay, and the arrangement is known as reverse bias. Okay, so now this reverse potential difference is now increased, the current will drop. Why it is dropped? Because this collector, when becomes negative, it will repel the electrons by the Coulomb repulsion. Okay, so only those electrons are able to reach at the collector which have enough energy to cross that Coulomb repulsion. Okay, so initially what will happen? Those electrons which have least energy will stop, then त्याच्यापेक्षा जास्त एनर्जी असलेले थांबतील आणि सर्वात शेवटी ज्यांची एनर्जी सर्वात जास्त होती बाहेर निघाल्यांपैकी जे इलेक्ट्रॉन्स ज्यांची एनर्जी सर्वात जास्त होती तर ते सर्वात शेवटी थांबतील. Okay, so here in the graph you can see with the increase in reverse potential difference, current drops and finally it becomes zero at certain negative potential difference, and it is known as stopping potential. So at the stopping potential, all the electrons or all the photoelectrons emitted from the emitter will stop. That's why it is called stopping potential. Even at a higher intensity also you will get the photocurrent zero at the same stopping potential. That means the stopping potential is not depend on the intensity of the incident radiation. So the feature that we have observed in this photoelectric effect are the different dependence of electron kinetic energy on the light intensity. Okay, so these are the different features that we are studying. So first we are studying whether the kinetic energy of the photoelectron is depend on the intensity. There was the prediction by the classical theory that the electron should absorb energy continually from the electromagnetic waves. Okay, if we assume the wave nature of the electromagnetic radiation, then the energy is spread across the wave front. As we have seen in the 12th, the Huygens wave theory of light, the energy of the radiation or electromagnetic wave or light is distributed over the wave front. Okay, so electron should absorb energy continually to get enough energy to get escape from that metal surface. So this was the classical prediction. Also, since the light intensity incident on metal is increased, the electron should be ejected with the more kinetic energy. These are the classical predictions. The predictions काय आहे की ते इलेक्ट्रोमॅग्नेटिक रेडिएशन्स पासनं एनर्जी इलेक्ट्रॉन्स कंटिन्युअली ऍब्सॉर्ब करतील आणि जर इंटेन्सिटी लाईटची जर जास्त असेल इलेक्ट्रॉन्सची कायनेटिक एनर्जी जास्त राहील. But from the experimental result, it is seen that the maximum kinetic energy is independent of light intensity. Okay, since we have seen that stopping potential is not depend on the intensity of the light incident on the photosensitive metal plate. So stopping potential, at stopping potential, the potential energy of the electron is E into Vs. Okay, so at this stopping potential, the potential energy is equal to maximum kinetic energy, because we have said that at the stopping potential the electrons or the photoelectrons emitted with maximum kinetic energy will stop. So the maximum kinetic energy of the photoelectrons is equal to the potential energy at stopping potential. So half mv square max is suppose the maximum kinetic energy of the emitted photoelectron, and the potential energy of the electron at the stopping potential is EVS. Okay, so when this two becomes equal, then the electrons having maximum kinetic energy will stop. Okay, so as Vs is not depend on intensity of light, so EVS is not depend on the intensity of light, and so that maximum kinetic energy will not depend on the intensity of light. The maximum kinetic energy is proportional to the stopping potential. We can put that this kinetic energy, the emitted photoelectron, is proportional to stopping potential. So the second feature, the time interval between incidence of light and ejection of photoelectrons. So what was the classical prediction? At low light intensities, a measurable time interval should pass between the instant the light is turned on and the time an electron ejected from the metal. So there should be a time lag, because since we have assumed in the Huygens theory of light, the energy of the radiation is distributed over the wave packet, it is distributed over the wavefront. So the part of the wavefront incident on the electron will give the small amount of energy to the electron, which is not enough to get escape by the electron from the metal. So it will wait to get enough energy. So it will not at once get the enough energy. So as it takes time to get sufficient energy, and then finally when it get enough energy, then electron will escape from the metal. So this was the classical explanation. This time interval is required for the electron to absorb the incident radiation before it acquires enough energy to escape from the metal. So there is a time lag according to classical mechanics. But experimentally it is seen that as soon as the radiation falls on the metal surface, the photoelectrons emit from the metal surface. So that means there is no time lags. So here also this classical theory could not give the correct explanation. So the next feature is dependence of ejection of electrons on light frequency. So classical prediction was the electron should be ejected at any frequency as long as the light intensity is high enough. क्लासिकल मेकॅनिक्स असं सांगताय किंवा क्लासिकल थिअरीज अशा सांगतायत, क्लासिकल थिअरी म्हणजे या केसमध्ये आपण वेव्ह थिअरी ऑफ लाईट कन्सिडर करतोय. तर क्लासिकल थिअरी अशी सांगते की कुठल्याही फ्रिक्वेन्सीला, इन्सिडंट रेडिएशनच्या कुठल्याही फ्रिक्वेन्सीला फोटो इलेक्ट्रॉन्स बाहेर पडतील. ओके, फक्त काय असायला पाहिजे, इंटेन्सिटी हाय असायला पाहिजे त्या रेडिएशनची. बट एक्सपेरिमेंटल रिझल्ट शोज दॅट देर इज ए cut off frequency, there is a small value of frequency below which there is no emission of photoelectrons, which is known as cut off frequency, and it is a characteristic of material being illuminated. आणि ही कट ऑफ फ्रिक्वेन्सी म्हणजे पर्टिक्युलर मेटल ची एक कॅरेक्टरिस्टिक प्रॉपर्टी आहे. नो इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आर इजेक्टेड बिलो दी कट ऑफ फ्रिक्वेन्सी रिगार्डलेस ऑफ इंटेन्सिटी. ओके, कट ऑफ फ्रिक्वेन्सीच्या खाली जर फ्रिक्वेन्सी इन्सिडेंट रेडिएशनची असेल आणि इंटेन्सिटी किती जास्त असली तरी रेडिएशन इमिट होणार नाही. सो दिस इज द नेक्स्ट फीचर, डिपेंडन्स ऑफ photoelectron kinetic energy on the light frequency. Okay, so according to the classical prediction, as we have already discussed, that the kinetic energy not depend on frequency, but experimentally it can be seen that the kinetic energy of the emitted photoelectrons increases with increasing frequency. So these are, in summary, the experimental result contradicts all four classical predictions. The Einstein extended Planck's quantum concept of quantization to electromagnetic waves. Okay, and using this concept, he explained the phenomena of photoelectric effect. So how he could explain, or how he has used this the photoelectric effect and work function. So electrons ejected from the surface of metal, not making collision with other metal before escaping process. Okay, so when this light or radiation falls on the metal surface, that means the photon from which the light is made up of are colliding with the electrons. So the electron will absorb the energy from the photon. Suppose energy of the photon is hf. So if during the process of escape, during the process, if it is not losing its energy, then the energy it will have after emission is equal to hf minus phi, where phi is the work function. So it's a minimum energy that electron takes to escape from the metal surface. So this is how this photoelectric equation was derived by the Einstein, or this is how this experimental observations were explained by the Einstein using the Planck's quantum theory. So in this, as the light of frequency f falls on the metal, means photons of energy hf are falling on the metal. The energy hf of photon will be absorbed by the free electrons in metal, and if this energy is enough for electron to escape, this will be utilized by that electron into two ways. The first, to get free from metal, and the rest will be acts as kinetic energy. If the electron takes the minimum energy to escape from the metal, because different electron takes different energy to get escape from the metal. So we are talking about the electron which is taking minimum energy to escape. Okay, and that minimum energy is known as the work function. So if it is taking minimum energy, then it will have the maximum energy remain with it as a kinetic energy, so that by the conservation of energy we can write the remaining amount of energy for the photoelectrons, which is acts as its maximum kinetic energy, is equal to hf minus phi. So this equation is known as Einstein photoelectric equation, and this equation is correctly explain the phenomena of photoelectric effect. So this graph shows the graph between frequency of the incident radiation with the maximum kinetic energy of the emitted photoelectrons. So it is seen that for the different metals, the graph is straight line. Even we are using different metals as a photosensitive metals, so the graph has a same nature. All the graphs are straight lines, they are parallel to each other. That means slope of each graph is same, and it is equal to the h, that is Planck constant, and these graphs intersect the frequency axis at certain value of frequency known as cutoff frequency. The cutoff frequency is related to the work function by the equation fc is equal to phi by h. The cutoff frequency corresponds to cutoff wavelength, since the relation between frequency and wavelength is frequency into wavelength is velocity. So fc into lambda c is equal to c, so it is equal to hc by phi. So for the wavelength greater than lambda c, incident on a material having work function phi do not result in emission of photoelectrons. So I think I should stop here because, hello?
Yes, sir.
Shall I stop? की पुढे
Sir,
जाऊ?
if you want 10 minutes or more, तो चालेल सर, 10 मिनिटं लागलं असेल तर.
ठीक आहे.
हो.
Okay, so hello? हॅलो, आवाज येतोय?
हा सर, येतोय आवाज सर, आवाज येतोय सर.
ठीक आहे. आर्थर होली कॉम्प्टन. So as we are talking about the quantum mechanics, so at the beginning of the quantum mechanics, or the successful history of the quantum mechanics, begin with the explanation of the three phenomena. One is black body radiation, other is photoelectric effect, and third one is a Compton effect. So you have learned this many times, because black body radiation spectrum, whenever you start learning quantum mechanics, it begins with the black body radiation spectrum. Then photoelectric effect, though it is very simple effect for the explanation also and for understanding also, still we are start the learning of quantum mechanics with photoelectric effect. Okay, because these effects made the foundation for the use of the quantum mechanics for the further phenomena. So the Compton effect is one of such phenomena. So it was invented by Arthur Holly Compton. He was American physicist, and he was the director of lab at the University of Chicago, discovered at Compton. So he shared Nobel Prize with another scientist in 1927 for the explanation of this Compton effect using the Planck's quantum theory. So the effect is when monochromatic X-ray beam is scattered from the light elements like carbon, beryllium, boron, etc., the scattered spectra observed in any direction except the incident direction of X-ray consist of two intensity peaks. One corresponds to incident wavelength and the other slightly higher wavelength. So this is the Compton effect. So what is the effect? If we consider the monochromatic X-ray beam, monochromatics means X-ray having a fixed value of wavelength, and if it is scattering from certain light elements like carbon or barium or boron, and if we observe the scattered X-ray, then you will find that you will get another wavelength of the X-ray if we observe in a particular direction. So in the adjacent figure, you can see that at the different value of a scattering angle, so this theta value shows the scattering angles. So at the different scattering angles, you will get the different value of wavelength. For example, at 135 degrees centigrade, at 135 degrees angle of a scattering, and if lambda 0 is the wavelength of the incident X-ray, then you will get another wavelength at lambda dash. So if you observe the spectra for the scattering of radiation at 135 degree, you will get two intensity peaks. So one is at original wavelength and other is at slightly higher wavelength. So this phenomenon is the Compton effect, and the change in wavelength from lambda 0 to lambda dash is known as Compton shift, and this shift was explained theoretically using Planck's quantum theory, and he used the same concept as the Einstein did for the explanation of photoelectric effect. So in order to explain, he made some assumptions. So what he did, he assumed the X-ray consists of photons as the extension of Einstein for the Planck's hypothesis. The electromagnetic radiation consists of photons, and Compton assumed the photon as a point-like particles having energy hf0. Okay, suppose f0 is the frequency of the X-ray, and obviously the momentum will be hf0 by c. And if this photon fall on the light element, then it will collide with the loosely bound electron of that element. And if we assume this collision of photon and electron is elastic collision, that means no loss of energy and momentum during this collision, then we would obtain the expression for Compton shift is equal to h upon m suffix e c into 1 minus cos theta, where h upon m e c is a constant. Therefore, this shift can be seen to be depend on the value of theta, as the graph also show. At 135 degree, there is a maximum shift. So this difference is maximum. At 90 degree, the difference is somewhat less, and at 45 degree, it is even less. Okay, and at 0 degree, you will get only primary beam. Means if you observe the scattering in the direction of incidence. Okay, we can't say it as a scattering. जर आपण incident direction नीच पाहत असू तर त्याला scattering नाही म्हणू. Scattering केव्हा म्हणणार आपण त्याला जेव्हा deviation होत असेल तर इथे 0 डिग्रीने आपण किंवा इन्सिडेंट डायरेक्शनने जर आपण स्पेक्ट्रा ऑब्झर्व केला तर आपल्याला ही कॉम्प्टन शिफ्ट मिळत नाही. पण जशी जशी स्कॅटरिंग अँगल आपण वाढवत गेलो तर तशी ही कॉम्प्टन शिफ्ट आपल्याला वाढले. ओके, आणि हा जो फॅक्टर आहे मल्टिप्लाइंग फॅक्टर h अपॉन MEC, तर इट इज नोन एज कॉम्प्टन वेवलेंथ अँड इट्स व्हॅल्यू इज 0.002 नॅनोमीटर. ओके, आणि ॲज इट इज सीन or even in the explanation shown in this figure, if the radiation is scattering with this angle theta, it will have the frequency f dash or the wavelength lambda dash. So why should be there wavelength lambda 0 further? Okay, म्हणजे जर आपण असं म्हणतोय की incident x-ray या direction नी scattered झाला, why it is scattering into this direction? Because it has transferred some of its momentum to the electron. Ultimately what will happen, the momentum of the photon get reduced. Okay, as we are dealing with the elastic collision, so momentum should be constant or conserved. So if it is initially electron was at rest, and if the photon fall onto the electron get recoil. That means photon is transferring some of its momentum to the electron. Okay, so the rest, and it will scattered in this direction with the modified momentum. Modified momentum means with modified wavelength. So as this in this direction there should be only one wavelength, that is lambda dash. So why we are getting the two wavelengths? So the reason is the X-ray scattered from the electrons that are tightly bound to the target atoms. Okay, so whenever the electron strikes or collide with loosely bound electron, momentum to the electron. Okay, but if the incident photon strike on the tightly bound electron of the atom, it could not transfer the momentum, because the mass, since electron is tightly bound to the atom, so by the transfer of momentum atom should recoil, because it is tightly bound. इथे आता इलेक्ट्रॉन फक्त रिकॉइल व्हायला नको, तर इथे कारण तो टाइटली बाउंड आहे. इलेक्ट्रॉन रिकॉइल तो त्याच्यासोबत ॲटमला पण घेऊन जाईल, पण ॲटम इज क्वाइट हेवियर. सो इन दॅट केस देर इज व्हेरी लीस्ट ट्रान्सफर ऑफ मोमेंटम. ओके, म्हणजे या एक्सप्रेशन मध्ये कॉम्प्टन शिफ्टच्या इथे मास ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉनच्या ऐवजी आपण मास ऑफ ॲटम जर ठेवलं तर हा जो हे जे एक्सप्रेशन आहे किंवा ही जी व्हॅल्यू आहे कॉम्प्टन शिफ्टची ती खूप स्मॉल येईल. ओके, आणि त्या केसमध्ये कॉम्प्टन शिफ्ट 0 राहील और निग्लिजिबल राहील, म्हणजेच लॅम्बडा 0 वरती आपल्याला एक पीक मिळेल. ओके, कारण प्रोबॅबिलिटी दोघांची आहे. जेव्हा आपण एलिमेंट कन्सिडर करतो तर त्याच्यामध्ये काही टाइटली बाउंड इलेक्ट्रॉन्स असतात, काही लूजली बाउंड इलेक्ट्रॉन्स असतात. जर लूजली बाउंड इलेक्ट्रॉन्स वरती जर फोटॉन कोलाइड होत असेल तर तिथे आपल्याला कॉम्प्टन शिफ्ट मिळेल, किंवा त्या स्कॅटरिंग मुळे ती जी स्कॅटरिंग होईल तर त्याच्यामुळे आपल्याला कॉम्प्टन शिफ्ट म्हणजे मॉडिफाईड वेव्हलेंथ मिळेल. पण जेव्हा हा फोटॉन टाइटली बाउंड तर तेव्हा काय होईल, तर इलेक्ट्रॉन रिकॉइल होणार नाही, तर तो कंप्लीट ॲटम रिकॉइल होईल. आणि जर त्या ॲटमचं रिकॉइल आपण या थिअरीमध्ये जर कन्सिडर केलं तर द मास ऑफ द इलेक्ट्रॉन इन द एक्सप्रेशन शुड बी रिप्लेस बाय द मास ऑफ ॲटम. ओके, अँड देअरफॉर दिस व्हॅल्यू बिकम्स व्हेरी स्मॉल. ओके, तर अशा प्रकारे आपल्याला दोन्ही वेव्हलेंथ मिळतात. ओके, आणि याला आपण कॉम्प्टन इफेक्ट असं म्हणतो. ओके, तर आता मी इथे थांबतो कारण इथे ऑनलाईन लेक्चर किंवा ऑनलाईन टीचिंग याचे भरपूर लिमिटेशन्स आहेत
हो.
हे आपल्याही लक्षात आलं असेल. कारण आवाज कंटिन्यू फ्लो मध्ये येत नाही, मध्येच इंटरनेटचा प्रॉब्लेम येतो, आवाजाचा प्रॉब्लेम येतो. ओके, आणि दुसरी गोष्ट महत्वाची, इंटरॅक्शन. या प्रोसेसमध्ये आपली इंटरॅक्शन होत नाही. तुम्ही मला जरी मला माहिती आहे की इथे दिसत आहेत पार्टिसिपंट्स आर 61 पार्टिसिपंट आहेत, हे मला समोर जरी दिसतंय तरी सर त्यांचे चेहरे मला दिसत नसतील तर मला तो फील येत नाही की कोणीतरी माझं ऐकत आहे. मला असंच वाटतंय की माझं कोणीच ऐकत नाही आणि मी फक्त बडबड करतोय असं मधात कधीतरी वाटून जातं. म्हणजे जेव्हा आपण विसरून जातो की आपण कोणाला तरी सांगतोय आणि कारण आपल्याला सवय असते लोकांसमोर सांगायची किंवा विद्यार्थ्यांसमोर सांगायची, आणि समजा समोर कोणी अचानक आपल्याला आठवते अरे समोर तर कोणीच नाही, मग असं वाटतं की आपण
हो. हॅलो.
हॅलो सर, चालू करू का?
नाही, वेट मॅडम. हॅलो सर. सर, हॅलो. स्टुडंट्स, तुम्ही तुमचा कॅमेरा चालू करू शकता. डिअर स्टुडंट्स, यू शुड स्टार्ट युअर कॅमेरा. हॅलो. सर, नागपुरे सर.
सर बहुतेक गेले वाटते सर ऑफलाईन.
नाही, wait. हॅलो सर. हॅलो सर. आय थिंक सर
ऑफलाईन गेलायस.
नाही, ऑफलाईन तर नाही सर, लाईव्ह येत आहेत. हॅलो. स्टुडंट्स, वी वेट फॉर द सर 2 minutes. तोपर्यंत हॅलो नागपुरे सर. हा, हॅलो सर. सर, तुमचा आवाज येत नाही सर. हॅलो सर, तुम्ही बोला 1 मिनिट. हा, आता आलाय सर, आता आलाय सर आवाज.
ओके.
हा, तर सर मी हे म्हणत होतो की जर विद्यार्थ्यांना काही क्वेश्चन्स विचारायचे असतील तर ते प्रश्न विचार. हा, तर डिअर स्टुडंट्स, इफ यू हॅव एनी क्वेरीज और क्वेश्चन्स रिलेटेड टू द क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स, तुम्हाला काही विचारायचं असेल सरांना, यू शुड स्टार्ट युअर माइक अँड आस्क द क्वेश्चन. आणि तुमचा व्हिडिओ तरी चालू केला तरी चालेल. एनीवन हॅव एनी क्वेश्चन्स? कोणाला काही विचारायचं आहे रिलेटेड टू क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स? तुम्ही आता लेक्चर ऐकलाय.
त्यांना
थर्ड इयर
समजलं, त्यांना सगळ्यांनी सांगितलं.
थर्ड इयर
आवाज
स्टुडंट.
आला होता का? पण मला तर डाऊट आहे की मी बोलतोय ते आवाज येत होता की नाही पिक्चर.
हा सर, एक स्टुडंट विचारते सर, ते तिला मी अनम्यूट.
हा विचार.
हा, तू तुझा कॅमेरा आजचल वान कर. तू तुझा कॅमेरा चालू केला तर चालेल. मी तुला परमिशन दिली आहे. हा चल विचार तू क्वेश्चन.
Yes, sir. Sir, what kind of topics are included in quantum mechanics?
Which topics are included in quantum mechanics? Means you are talking about your syllabus or in general?
In general.
I think sir she is preparing for.
General मध्ये जर विचार केला तर जनरल क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स खूप वास्ट आहे. ओके, स्टील दी थिंग्स आर गोइंग ऑन इन क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स. म्हणजे अजून थांबलेलं नाही आहे क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स की त्याच्या स्कोप मध्ये काय राहील, तर ते अजूनही चालू आहे. त्याच्यामध्ये ऍडव्हान्समेंट अजूनही चालू आहे. तर युजी किंवा बीएससी चा विचार केला तर आपण काही बेसिक गोष्टी त्याच्यामध्ये शिकतो. म्हणजे सुरुवात क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्सची सुरुवात कशी झाली आणि मग आपण ते क्वांटम कन्सेप्ट आपण कसे वापरात आणतोय, काही बेसिक सिस्टीम साठी ते आपण शिकतोय. पण जसं जसं आपण पुढे जाऊ, इव्हन पीजी ला सुद्धा आपण काही फक्त बेसिक गोष्टीच शिकतोय. त्याच्या पुढेही क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स खूप ठिकाणी आपल्याला वापरावं लागतं. तो खूप वास्ट टॉपिक आहे. जर स्पेस पासून इव्हन सध्या कॉस्मॉलॉजी मध्ये सुद्धा क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स वापरतायत. न्यूक्लिअर फिजिक्स मध्ये इव्हन पार्टिकल फिजिक्स मध्ये क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्सचा वापर होतो. म्हणजे ऍटमच्या न्यूक्लियस मध्ये किंवा न्यूक्लियस मध्ये जे पार्टिकल्स असतात त्यांच्यासाठी आपण क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स वापरतो. तिथून तर कॉस्मॉस म्हणजे या विश्वाचा किंवा युनिव्हर्सचा जेव्हा आपण स्टडी करतो तर त्याच्यासाठी सुद्धा क्वांटम मेकॅनिकल कन्सेप्ट वापरल्या जातात. त्यामुळे क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स हे खूप वास्ट आहे. ओके, ह्या आपण ज्या गोष्टी शिकतोय तर त्या अगदी सुरुवातीच्या गोष्टी आहेत. पण जरी सुरुवातीच्या असल्या तरी त्या तेवढ्याच महत्वाच्या आहेत. कारण जर हे नाही समजलं तर याच्या पुढचं काही समजणार नाही. कारण बऱ्याच जणांचा हा प्रॉब्लेम असतो की ब्लॅक बॉडी रेडिएशन स्पेक्ट्रम आणि त्याच्यासाठी जे डिराईव्ह केलेले फॉर्म्युले आहेत, म्हणजे पर्टिक्युलरली प्लॅंक रेडिएशन फॉर्म्युला कसा डिराईव्ह झाला तर हे समजणं खूप आवश्यक आहे. म्हणजे ऍक्च्युली मी पण या लेक्चर मध्ये तुम्हाला सांगू शकलो नाही की प्रोसेस काय आहे, त्याच्या मागचं लॉजिक कसं डेव्हलप केलं ते सांगण्याचा प्रयत्न केला. पण आय डोंट नो की मला हे ऑनलाईन जमत नाही की काय. तर पण आय एम नॉट सॅटिस्फाईड की हे शिकवताना आपल्याला तो ऍक्च्युअल फॉर्म्युला कसा तयार झाला, त्याचे बेसिक अझम्पशन्स, त्या अझम्पशन वरून कसे कॉन्सेप्ट त्याने त्या फॉर्म्युला डिराईव्ह करण्यासाठी वापरले आणि तो फायनली तयार झाला. आणि मग तेच कॉन्सेप्ट पुढे एक्सटेंड आईन्स्टाईनने केले, कॉम्प्टनने केले, पुढे बरेच सायंटिस्टनी ते कॉन्सेप्ट वापरले आणि त्याच्यापासून मग बऱ्याच गोष्टी आपल्याला क्लिअर झाल्या. मायक्रो वर्ल्ड मधला स्पेसिफिकली क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स स्पेसिफिकली जरी आताच्या सध्या त्याचा यूज हा कॉस्मॉलॉजी मध्ये किंवा युनिव्हर्स स्पेस मध्ये त्याचा वापर सुरू आहे, तरी पण याचा बेसिक जो यूज आहे तर तो मायक्रो फिजिक्स मध्ये आहे. मायक्रो म्हणजे सब ॲटॉमिक पार्टिकल्स, ॲटम किंवा ॲटम मधले जे पार्टिकल्स आहेत, कन्स्टिट्युएंट पार्टिकल्स, त्यांच्या मोशनसाठी किंवा त्यांच्या मोशनच्या एक्सप्लेनेशन साठी आपण क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स आपण वापरत आलेलो आहे आतापर्यंत. तर जोपर्यंत त्याची सुरुवात कशी झाली हे आपल्याला समजणार नाही तोपर्यंत ते कसं वापरायचं हे आपल्याला कळणार नाही.
ओके, नेक्स्ट कोणाला आणखी क्वेश्चन विचारायचा आहे? Anyone have questions? We wait 5 seconds. If you have any question, मराठी ती विचारलं तर चालेल, काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही.
क्वांटम मेकॅनिक्स जेवढा व्हास्ट विषय आहे तेवढाच त्याचे प्रश्नही खूप व्हास्ट असतात. म्हणजे खूप सारे प्रश्न असतात, म्हणून कोणता विचारायचा म्हणून कोणीच विचारत नाही.
ओके, सो आय थिंक क्वेश्चन्स नाही आहेत ते विद्यार्थ्यांचे. ते जेव्हा थेअरीतून जातील तेव्हा त्यांना काही क्वेश्चन्स येतील, तेव्हा ते आपण सॉल्व्ह करू. सो थँक्यू सर. This knowledge of quantum mechanics is very useful to our students. Once again, thank you. So, for lastly, I am called to the Ms. Rakhi Bhagwat to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all dear my student and respected sir. On the behalf of Physics Department, I would like to thank the today's guest speaker, Dr. P.K. Nagpure sir, for giving excellent presentation and making the program a very meaningful and interesting. Thank you so much, sir. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the all students for participating this program and hope you learn a lot from this. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, dear students, wait for the 2 minutes. Tomorrow will be the lecture. Will start at 12:15. You should admit all within 12:15. म्हणजे 12 वाजून 15 मिनिटापर्यंत सगळ्यांनी ऍडमिट व्हायचं आहे. ओके, आणि तो लेक्चर आहे द फेजेस ऑफ द मून अँड फॉर्मेशन ऑफ द हिंदू कॅलेंडर. सगळ्यांनी हा लेक्चर ऐका. इंटरेस्टिंग लेक्चर आहे. सो इंटरेस्टिंग लेक्चर आहे आणि तुम्हाला याच्यामध्ये हिंदू कॅलेंडर कसं बनलेलं आहे, फेजेसच्या मून कसे असतात, हे डिफरंट ऍस्ट्रोफिजिक्स तुम्हाला ऐकायला भेटेल. ठीक आहे. आणि उद्या जर तुम्हाला व्हिडिओ स्टार्ट करायचा असेल तर आय हॅव नो प्रॉब्लेम, बट फक्त एवढं लक्षात घ्या की तुमच्या बॅकग्राऊंड मागे जे काही चालू राहते दॅट शुड बी डिस्ट्रॅक्टिव्ह फॉर द टीचर. तर तेव्हा तुम्ही एवढी काळजी करा, ज्यांना व्हिडिओ स्टार्ट करायचा असेल तर त्यांनी एवढं लक्षात घ्यायचं की आपल्या मागचं बॅकग्राऊंड व्यवस्थित असलं पाहिजे. ठीक आहे. सो
एक मिनिट सर.
हा बोला.
आणि सर गेस्ट लेक्चर सुरू झाल्यानंतर कोणी पण आम्हाला कॉल करायचा नाही. तुमचे जे प्रॉब्लेम्स आहेत ते लेक्चर संपल्यानंतर कॉल करायचा.
आणि करायचं असलं तर व्हॉट्सअपवर मेसेज टाका तुम्ही. जर सॉल्व्ह करता आला तर आम्ही सॉल्व्ह करू प्लीज. आणि आज लेक्चर झाला ना, आज सगळं उपस्थित असं करायचं नाही. उद्या पण लेक्चर आहे, उद्या डिफरंट टॉपिक आहे, परवा दुसरा टॉपिक आहे. तर तुम्ही गेस्ट लेक्चरला मॅक्झिमम स्ट्रेनने हजर राहिला. आणि सर्वात पहिले थँकफुल टू यू स्टुडंट्स, तुम्ही अगोदर इनॉग्रेशन फंक्शनला चांगल्या उपस्थिती होती तुमची त्याबद्दल. तर उद्या सुद्धा 12:15 वाजता सगळ्यांनी ऍडमिट व्हायचं. आपण 12:30ला शार्प तुमचा लेक्चर स्टार्ट करू आणि मी त्याची लिंक तुम्हाला 5 वाजेपर्यंत पाठवेल. आणि अदर कॉलेजचे जे स्टुडंट्स आहेत त्यांनाही तुम्ही पाठवलं तर चालेल, त्याबद्दल काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही. ठीक आहे. ओके, थँक्यू. जर तुम्हाला आजचं जर म्हणजे एक फीडबॅक विचारतोय, आजचा लेक्चर जर तुम्हाला व्यवस्थित वाटला असेल, आवडला असेल तर यू शुड ऑल द थंब, तुम्ही थंब करा आणि यू विल लिव्ह द मीटिंग.
ओके, थँक्यू.
ओके, थँक्यू मॅडम.
थँक्यू.
थँक्यू. हो. Now you may leave the meeting. I disconnect the meeting now.